Want to do some math with us, D? How about you? You want to do some math? You both do? Okay, we'll do some math, all right? Okay, give us a good one. All right? Look at the problem that Patty gave us. See if you guys can solve this problem, kids. I'll pause the video. Okay, let's see if we can, let's see if the kids got it right, Patty. Let's see if we can solve the problem you gave us. Well, if we were to set this up algebraically, what we'd want to do is do it in layers, first of all, and then maybe either use a calculator or use longhand to come up with the answer. But anyways, you can see that we have P times 3 4/10 equals 7 4800ths. So in order to get the variable alone and find its value or determine the solution, okay, we have to do the opposite or inverse operation of P times 3 4/10, which would actually be dividing by 3 4/10. And then on this side, of course, we would have to balance the equation by dividing on this side by the same amount, okay? So we're going to divide on both sides in order to get P by itself. Now at this point you can use a calculator, but because we have a test coming up, we're going to want to do it longhand. So here's what we would do. We would set up our division problem, because division is the opposite or inverse of multiplication, and we're going to take 7 4800ths and we're going to divide it by 3 4/10. Now remember, we have to move the decimal point over one place here, so we're going to move it over one place here and then put it up in our quotient. Now we can divide as we normally do. And we know that 34 will go into 74 a total of 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. We subtract. 4 can't take away 8, so we borrow. That becomes 6. We get 14. 14 take away 8 leaves us with 6. And look at this. We bring down our 8, and now we have 34 into 68, which is easy enough to do because we just did it up here. 2 times 34 is 68, and we subtract, and our decimal terminates. Now we know the value of P. The value of P is 2 2/10. All right, very good. All right, let's check. Let's have Patty give us another problem. Do you have anything to give us, D? How about you? That's a good problem. That's a great problem. Hey kids, look what they want us to solve next. See if you can write this problem down. I'll pause the video and then you can see if you can solve it. Nice job, Pat. Here's the second problem Patty gave us. This is a good one. Let's solve for the value of x. Now again, if we were going to do it algebraically in layers, what we would do is we'd say, okay, we have x, or some number divided by 8, equals 5 6/10. Well, in this case, the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So if we divide by 8 on this side, we're going to want to multiply by 8 on this side. And of course over here, we are going to have to multiply by 8 also. Now notice how I put a dot there instead of an x, because, well, we're using x as a variable. I could have moved those closer, but anyways. So now we know that dividing by 8 will be canceled by multiplying by 8. That leaves us with x by itself over here, and now we just have to divide. Or I'm sorry, now we just have to multiply over here. So we're going to set it up as a standard algorithm, and we will multiply 8 times 5 6/10. 8 times 6 is 48, carry your 4. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 is 44. We have one decimal place up in our factors, so we bring it in once and we put it right there. So the value of x is going to be 44 and 8/10. Very good. Let's try another problem. Okay, give us a good one. All right? Okay, that sounds like a good problem. This is what I wrote down. There you go, kids. Record this problem on your marker board. I'll pause the video and you see if you can solve it and give Patty the value for the variable. All right, that is a great problem. Let's see if we can figure out the answer now. Patty's pretty good at these problems. Okay, and again, you read your equation to begin with, and we see we have 4 times some unknown number z equals 50 and 8/10. Well, again, if we set it up in layers, algebraically, we know that the inverse of multiplication is division, so we're going to take 4 times z and divide it by 4. And then we know that if we divide on the left side, we also have to divide on the right side. And we're dividing by 4 because that's what we multiplied by. And then we just set up and we do the math, because we're going to now do 50 and 8/10 divided by 4. It's a whole number, so we can just take our decimal point right up and put it in our quotient. And we have 4 will go into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract, and we have 1 remainder. Bring down our 0, and now we have 4 into 10 will go twice. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract, and we have 2 left over. Bring down our 8, and we have 4 into 28 will go a total of 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28, and our decimal terminates. So now we know that the value of z is going to be 12 and 7/10. Let's see if Pat can give us another problem. Okay, give us a nice one. That's it? Come on. Let's make sure I got it right. Patty, you said 56 equals 1 4/10 times t, right? Okay, I'll pause the video and see if the kids can solve this problem. Okay, here's a good problem. Let's find the value of t in this situation. Again, we're going to set it up algebraically, and you can see that they kind of switched things around on us. They gave us the product in front of the problem or process. So that's no problem. We're just going to do the inverse of 1 4/10 times t would mean that we divide by 1 4/10 to get our variable alone. Now if we divide on one side by 1 4/10, we have to divide by 1 4/10 on the other side. We're going to want to set up our problem and do it algorithmically. So we have 56 divided by 1 4/10. Now in this case we have to move our decimal point over, and now here our decimal point's there and there's no 0, so we're going to annex a 0 in order to move our decimal point, take it up, put it in our quotient, and we're good to divide now. 14 can't go into 5. 14 can go into 56. A total of 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Regroup the 1. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Subtract and we end up with 0. Bring down our other 0 and we would have 14 into 0. Can't do it. So we put a 0 up there in our quotient, and of course 0 times 14 is 0, and it terminates. So the value of t, which is by itself over here now because we've undone multiplying through division, leaves the t by itself, and then we divided and we found out it was 40. So the answer is t has a value of 40. Very good.
Dad,
What?
I think I hear the fox in the garbage again.
What?
I think I hear the fox in the garbage again.
Oh, seriously? Fox? Again? Are you kidding me? What? I was hungry.